So hey there. I do like to want to do a question just for the fun of it for your final exam. The Jefferson method I find is probably one of the trickier things to deal with. So there is a question on your exam that looks something like this. So if you can watch this video and at the end I'll give you like a little Easter egg, and if you text me the Easter egg answer, I will give you 5 points on your exam. So here we go. So use the standard divisor 20.734 and the Hamilton apportionment. I'm sorry, using the standard divisor of 20.734 and the Hamilton apportionment, 109 new computers were appropriated as shown in the table below for a school district with 5 schools. Use the Jefferson method to apportion the 109 new computers the school district received. So instead of using the Hamilton method, they want us to use the uh, Jefferson method. Now, the Jefferson method, we also use this standard divisor, but usually we modify it. So I'm going to try to just modify it off the bat because usually, like we said, we usually don't use the standard divisor in the Jefferson method. We use the modified divisor. So let me pause for a second here and get this set up. So typically when we do a modified divisor, I usually round this down because if we round down, we make a bigger quotient. But right now, let's just look at the Hamiltons. Do these numbers really add up to 109? So let me clear my calculator off and we'll add these together. So I can get this thing to work for us here. So they're saying 16 computers go to Applegate. Bayshore got 22. Claypool got 14. Delmar got 28. And Edgewater got 29. So does that add up to 109? Well, yeah, it does add up to 109. So now using the Jefferson method, see if I can give myself a little bit of room to write. What we're going to do is divide these group populations by our standard divisor. But instead of using 20.734, I'm going to modify it down to 20 and just see what happens. So I'm going to divide the 337 by 20. So 337, I'm going to divide it by 20, and I'm going to get 16.85. So let's get this to work for us here. So 16.85. If I then do Bayshore for 56 divided by my modified divisor of 20, get 22.8. And Claypool, 296 divided by 20, 14.8. And 569 divided by 20. So it's 28.45. And if we do 602 divided by 20, we get 30.1. So it looks like, I'm getting very similar numbers, a 16, a 22, a 14, a 28, but this one's a 30. So it looks like we've got one more computer than needed. So I'm kind of curious, if we change our divisor, who's going to lose out here? So does Edgewater gain or lose? Right now, it's actually ahead of where it was here in the Hamilton. I think I saw something that Jefferson usually favored the bigger the bigger groups. The ones on the smaller end are the ones that didn't fare as well. So anyway, we're too big, so I'm gonna try to just use another modified divisor, but I gotta be bigger now because my numbers I got too big of a quota. Too I got 110 computers instead of 109. So I'm gonna just use a like a 20.5 just to see what it does. So notice how this is kind of a guess and check here and see what 20.5 does and see if it changes anything. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for something to drop down, but these are all really the only one that may drop down is looks like this is going to drop down first because it's at 30. So it looks like right now if I drop down, this is the one that's going to lose out because it's got the smallest decimal point zero. So I'm betting this goes back down to 29, but let's find out here if that happens. So I'm now going to use a modified divisor of 20.5. So 337 divided by 20.5, that gives me 16.439. So nothing changes there. If we do 456 divided by 20.5, we get 22.2. So that's still 22. We do 296 divided by 20.5, 14.4. So that stays at 14. 569 divided by 20.5. That's going to give me 27.7. Looks like I lost one there. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm going to lose two. So 602 divided by 20.5 is going to give me this 29. So it looks like I lost two. I only needed to lose one. So now I modified it too much the other way. So now I got to go back the other direction. So it still looks like this answer here is probably going to match this one here, but let's see if we can make the modified divisor work. So I'm going to go halfway between 20 and 20.5. I'm going to use 20.25 this time. So 337 divided by 22, I'm sorry, 20.25. So that's still didn't change there, 16 still. So 456 divided by 20.25. That shouldn't change. 22.5 is still 22. The 296 divided by 20.25, 14, that stayed okay. What I'm hoping for is this one jumps back up above 28. So 569 divided by 20.25. Oh, yeah, that goes back up to 28.0. And then 569 divided by 20.25. gave us then, oops, gotta do 602, I'm sorry. So 602 divided by 20.25 gave me back to 29. So it looks like the modified divisor is somewhere around. Again, this is not the only one. It could be anything, but we knew that 20 was too small, 20.5 was too big, but 22.5 gave us back to where we are adding up to the same value. So notice that the Hamilton method and the Jefferson method still gave us the same results. That's interesting. Nothing really changed there. So for the Easter egg, what you can do is text me what were the three modified divisors I used and which one finally worked. So if you could text that to me, that'll be worth, we'll say 2 more points on your exam. I think I may have said 5, but let's say just 2 here for that. So, because you're already getting open notes and stuff. So again, the three modified divisors I used 20, and then I used 20.5, and then I used 20.25, and 20.25 seemed like that gave me the correct quotas for each school. So I'll leave it at that. Best luck on the exam, and y'all have a good year. Take care.